we're experiencing right now is we don't know when this attack will end, the second attack. So there were two attacks today, right? So there was one on the west side near a police headquarters, which ended a couple hours ago. That was claimed by so-called Daesh forces. And this other one here in the commercial center of the city, it's ongoing. Just a few minutes before we went on air, we heard another loud boom, gunfire. And it's one of those situations where buildings in the area are put on lockdown. No one is allowed outside. There's police all over the streets, police and military. And it's really a situation of people waiting to see what happens. And while they were waiting to see what happens, there was another earthquake today. The day started with an earthquake in the morning, and in the middle of the second attack, there was another massive earthquake that, for instance, I live in a big high-rise building. It shook the building for a good minute, the entire building. So it's just been a really bad day, and the biggest issue right now is no one knows when the second attack will end.
It's pretty terrifying what you've been experiencing today. What more can you tell us about this earthquake? I believe it hit on the border of Afghanistan, Tajikistan, and yet you can still feel it where you are in Kabul.
Right, so this happens a lot. Usually that fault line is near the very northeastern province of Afghanistan, Badakhshan. That's usually the area that feels sort of like the most susceptible to it, that undergoes the most damage. But in really big cases, you can also feel it in Kabul. So as I said, there was one in the morning. That one lasted maybe about 20 seconds. But the one in the afternoon, not only was there, bombs going off and gunfire, but this literally, like when I say I live in a massive high-rise, I live in a massive high-rise, and the entire building was shaking. People rushed outside, not sure what to do, because we weren't allowed outside onto the streets. We had to rush out into the hallways, and people were like, we didn't know if it was another bomb. We didn't know if it was just our fears, like if we were just shaking inside, and so we felt like the building was shaking. And people were just standing outside for a good minute, wondering what was going on, praying, just really confused, while at the same time, there were police and military on the stairs telling people to remain calm and try not to leave the building.
Ali, from your accent, I'm presuming that you haven't always lived in Afghanistan. Give us a sense to people who are watching you right now, what it's like to live where you are right now. All we hear is the constant bombings that are happening in that country.
Well, so this is exactly the issue, right? Is that, for instance, right now, Kabul has been under attack for 3 or 4 hours. And what is so much of the world's media talking about, right? And the other, so what I'm saying is that there isn't really attention paid. And the issue is that you really don't know when something can happen. I didn't think that there would be a bombing not very far from the building where I live, and I didn't think that we would be here for 3, 4 hours trying to figure out what's going on. And, I'm lucky in the sense that I live in a nice building with security. They locked down all the doors, didn't let anyone outside. But there were people walking, on the street. You could see people from my window running, trying to leave the area, go somewhere else. And in terms of what's going on in the city, so there were 2 attacks in the city today. Last week there was an attack. The week before there was an attack. It's the kind of issue where, no one really knows where's next and when's next. And it really doesn't seem to be getting much attention.